and it gives me great pleasure to moderate today's panel on protecting women's rights through pro bono. Now, the status of women throughout Asia varies significantly from one country to the next, but the one truth that they all have in common is that legal empowerment has been a very powerful tool to advance women's rights. So one of the things that we would like to explore in today's panel are some of the collaborative projects in the region that use law to advance reproductive freedom, but also access to justice for victims of gender-based violence, as well as female genital mutilation. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's panel of distinctive speakers who will talk to you about these issues. To my left, we have Niwayan Sita Mitri. I hope I'm pronouncing your name okay-ish. Sita, you are from Bali. You're the division coordinator of women and children at LBH Bali, which is, as many of you know, the Balinese Legal Aid Foundation. You've served in this position since 2013, and you work on various kinds of advocacy initiatives on the rights of women and children, and you also engage in capacity building for the paralegal community in your country. You're also involved in various campaigns for combating violence against women and children. You have a legal background, as all of the women here today, and you've worked also in the Bali Legal Aid Foundation. To my right, we have Marlene Harper. Marlene, you're the Director for Pro Bono Services at the Center for Reproductive Rights, a US-based organization, where you're responsible for leveraging effective legal support from law firms. You're a long-term public interest attorney. You've previously worked for the Legal Aid Society, the Children's Defense Fund, and you're also currently a lecturer in law with Columbia Law School, where you co-teach the externship on pro bono practice and design. So as you can see, lots of pro bono expertise around this table. To my far left, we have Rebecca Naylor. Rebecca, you're a pro bono associate with Reed Smith, based in the UK, where you manage work across 12 offices in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Your work focuses on the death penalty, cases, on also awareness raising projects involved on female genital mutilation, and you also do refugee work in Greece, where you counsel and support refugees on Lesbos. Your prior experience involved working with Reprieve on counterterrorism cases, clients in Guantanamo Bay, drone strike victims, and victims of torture. So a very vast expertise here around the table. It gives me really great pleasure to be amongst such impressive women here today. I would like to start perhaps by just talking a little bit about some of the main issues and human rights challenges that women face in Bali, Indonesia, but also the region. Perhaps, Sita, if we may start with you, and you could tell us a little bit more about women's rights here in Bali.
Okay. Thank you, Maisa. I will explain about women's situation in Bahasa. Kita berbicara mengenai hak-hak perempuan di Indonesia, khususnya Bali. Kita tahu sendiri bahwa di Indonesia sampai saat ini ketimpangan gender masih terjadi. Diskriminasi terhadap perempuan masih banyak terjadi di Indonesia, khususnya Bali. Kekerasan terhadap perempuan semakin hari semakin meningkat jumlahnya. Bahkan menurut data dari Komnas Perempuan sendiri, pada tahun 2015 terjadi hampir 321.000 kasus kekerasan terhadap perempuan dengan kekerasan dalam rumah tangga sebanyak 61%. Kemudian disusul kekerasan di ranah komunitas itu sebanyak 30%. Hal ini menunjukkan bahwa kedudukan perempuan, terutama di ranah keluarga atau komunitas itu sangat lemah, kedudukannya sangat lemah. kita tidak memungkiri banyak faktor yang menyebabkan kekerasan terhadap perempuan terjadi, misalnya kemiskinan, budaya di Indonesia, patriarki. Saya pikir ini juga terjadi di beberapa negara berkembang, tidak hanya di Indonesia, di mana dalam budaya ini perempuan secara ekonomi, politik, bahkan psikologi sangat tergantung dengan laki-laki. Perempuan berada di bawah subordinasi laki-laki, perempuan dianggap sebagai manusia kelas 2. Walaupun kita tahu bahwa Indonesia sudah meratifikasi konvensi CEDAW, di mana konvensi ini adalah untuk menghapuskan diskriminasi, segala bentuk diskriminasi terhadap perempuan, tapi faktanya sampai saat ini diskriminasi terhadap perempuan masih terjadi, kekerasan terhadap perempuan masih marak, pemiskinan terhadap perempuan juga terjadi di mana-mana. Kita ambil contoh misalnya, dalam satu keluarga, seandainya punya 2 orang anak, laki-laki dan perempuan, tapi jika keluarga itu hanya mampu menyekolahkan 1 orang anak, keluarga ini akan lebih memilih laki-laki ketimbang anak perempuan. Ini kemudian mendorong banyak perempuan-perempuan yang memiliki pendidikan yang rendah. Berbagai industri pariwisata dan perkembangan di Indonesia itu membutuhkan banyak lahan. Di desa-desa banyak terjadi land grabbing, alih fungsi lahan. Ini kemudian juga mendorong perempuan kehilangan lahan pekerjaan, sehingga akhirnya perempuan di Indonesia dan di Bali pada khususnya mereka bekerja ke kota. Nah, dengan pendidikan yang rendah tadi, mereka terpaksa harus bekerja pada sektor-sektor informal. Nah, menurut data statistik, sektor informal di Indonesia itu didominasi oleh perempuan. Sebanyak 60% itu adalah perempuan melakukan pekerjaan-pekerjaan informal, di mana salah satunya pekerjaan yang tidak dibayar, seperti itu. Nah, ini kemudian menyebabkan terjadi kekerasan terhadap perempuan. Nah, selanjutnya Bali diketahui sebagai ikon pariwisata. Kita tahu bahwa pariwisata itu mungkin terlihat bagus, banyak menyediakan lapangan pekerjaan. Tapi kemudian dengan banyaknya arus yang datang ke Bali, itu kemudian bisa menyebabkan pergeseran budaya. Salah satu contoh misalnya, jika terdahulu perempuan-perempuan Bali itu menari untuk tujuan bakti kepada Tuhan. Nah, tapi kemudian dengan maraknya pariwisata, banyaknya permintaan dari dunia wisata, banyak kemudian perempuan yang menari dengan tujuan untuk mendapatkan bayaran. Padahal di sektor-sektor ini perempuan juga sangat rentan mengalami kekerasan, seperti itu. Nah, kalau di sektor pekerjaan, sekali lagi sektor pekerjaan, perempuan hanya terpaksa melakukan pekerjaan-pekerjaan yang sifatnya informal. Nah, informal ini kan bayarannya hanya sedikit, jadi terpaksa mereka juga bekerja ke luar negeri. Kami kira di Bali selama ini banyak hanya bekerja di sektor di bidang kapal pesiar, pariwisata, tapi ternyata beberapa waktu yang lalu kita juga digemparkan dengan adanya bekerja luar negeri secara ilegal, berangkat secara ilegal dengan pendidikan yang minimum, dengan kemampuan yang minimum. Akhirnya mereka juga menjadi korban calo-calo, ada juga terlibat dengan data-data palsu seperti itu. Kira-kira seperti itu, Mesa.
Thank you so much for that, Sita. Marlene, I would like to ask you whether you have also observed similar challenges in the countries in which your center works, such as the Philippines or South Asia. Can you tell us a little bit more about the human rights violations that you've observed there?
Let me just put that in the framework of who we are in our work. Although we're US-based, we're a global NGO, and we have offices in Bogota, Nairobi, Kathmandu, and I hope you get a chance to meet my colleague Gian Jacob, who works out of the Philippines. So in the context of our work, which can be political at times, but also so essential, which is concerning women's reproductive health, and ranges from everything from the right to have access to safe legal abortion, which is probably the most political aspect of our work, and access to contraception, to child marriage, which is also political in certain regions, to maternal care. So the challenges, particularly in the Asia region, are going to be the challenges of concerning the culture of each country and the background of each country, So in the Philippines, where we really see our work through a public health lens to make sure that women receive proper care, there is a conservative and religious culture in the country. So to go beyond that and really to see that women need to access reproductive health so they are safe, so that they, do not have, if they do not wish to do so, do not have multiple upon multiple births, particularly ones that come as a result of gender-based violence, and that there is safe medical treatment for them. So that is some of the challenges there. In South Asia, where our work focuses highly on child marriage, the challenges are the sort of contrast between state law and personal and regional laws. So in India, for example, the state laws actually are quite good concerning child marriage, and that it should not be going on, and that it is not correct. But then when you look at India and you look at personal and religious laws, they do not coincide. So all these gray areas make it very difficult, and also certain customs such as not registering girls at childbirth and serving birth certificates for them. So I think the challenges are always what is the local culture, the local laws, and where do we see human rights progressing through that, but always also being aware and respectful of what that local culture is which is why the center always works. Although our staff in the regions are from the region, all of our work is done in partnership with local NGOs from that region.
And Becca, perhaps you could also tell us a little bit more about your experience with the kind of challenges that women face in the region, and tell us a little bit more about the work that you do in this area with Reed Smith.
Do you want to pass me a microphone?
Absolutely.
So at Reed Smith, we've been focusing on FGM, female genital mutilation, which is the partial or total removal of female genitalia. And it's thought to affect over 200 million women around the world who have undergone FGM, and in Indonesia specifically, it's estimated that 90% of the Muslim population still practice FGM, and over half of all children, girls under 11, are undergoing FGM, which is about 13.5 million children in Indonesia. So we set up a project at Reed Smith to look at how we could raise awareness about FGM and try and help victims access justice. And we did this by, initially we pulled together a team of lawyers who were interested from across our offices, and to do some initial research so that we could have a better understanding about the difficulties. So we looked at the laws in place in the countries where we have offices, we looked at what the government is doing, awareness raising by NGOs and schools and health authorities, and so we did that. And once we had this basic bank of knowledge, we then looked for organisations to partner with. So in London we have partnered with an organisation called Freedom Charity. They empower girls and raise awareness about forced marriage and FGM, and so we helped them produce a book called Cut Flowers. This is a story that they were writing, and it's aimed at children but also at parents, teachers, professionals. And the book is a story about two girls who go on holiday in the summer, one to the English seaside and one to join family in Africa. And what we did is our lawyers drafted about 10 advice pages at the back of the book, so that people are aware of their rights, why FGM is illegal, how they can seek a protection order, what are the mandatory reporting obligations on professionals, and that type of thing. So that's an area where our lawyers were able to assist.
Thank you so much, Becca. So this is a very interesting example also of how law firms can support the work of civil society in this area. And I'm wondering, Sita, could you tell us a little bit more about what your organization does? I know that you do a lot of awareness raising and advocacy work. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Oke. Selama ini yang lembaga kami lakukan untuk menghadapi tantangan-tantangan terhadap perempuan itu sendiri, misalnya kami melakukan campaign pada masyarakat, terutama dalam hari-hari tertentu. Salah satu contoh kami berpartisipasi dalam kegiatan 1 Billion Rising. Saya pikir banyak dari kita yang paham apa itu kegiatan 1 Billion Rising. Ada campaign pada hari perempuan internasional, terus dan hari-hari lainnya itu untuk menyuarakan hak-hak perempuan kepada masyarakat banyak, kepada masyarakat umum, dan juga menyampaikan bagaimana kondisi perempuan hari ini. Gitu. Itu tujuannya juga untuk meningkatkan kesadaran pentingnya penegakan hak-hak perempuan di masyarakat. Nah, selain itu kami juga melakukan pendampingan kasus terhadap kasus-kasus KDRT, kasus pelecehan terhadap perempuan. Kami juga membantu tidak hanya kalau di lembaga kami menyediakan bantuan hukum, tapi kan untuk korban-korban kekerasan terhadap perempuan itu biasanya pasti memerlukan psikologi terapi seperti itu. Kami bekerja sama juga dengan lembaga lain, kami merujuk klien kami untuk mendapatkan rehabilitasi mental dan kesehatan untuk mereka benar-benar bisa pulih. Selain itu kami juga melakukan kegiatan sosialisasi ke organisasi-organisasi perempuan akar rumput seperti misalnya PKK, ke desa-desa melalui untuk mensosialisasikan kepada masyarakat bahwa ada loh bantuan untuk perempuan yang mengalami kekerasan, karena kita tahu kalau di Indonesia itu kita punya banyak sekali aturan atau perlindungan terhadap perempuan, tapi untuk perempuan-perempuan yang ada di daerah terpinggir atau di desa, mereka bahkan tidak tahu bahwa yang mereka alami, kekerasan yang mereka alami itu adalah salah satu kekerasan. Mereka pikir itu adalah hal yang wajar. Saya perempuan, saya dibeginikan sama suami saya, itu hak suami saya. Gitu. Itu dianggap hal yang bukan hal yang bukan suatu pelanggaran. Jadi itu yang kita lakukan, melakukan penyadaran kepada masyarakat yang ada di desa pada khususnya, juga kepada PKK. Beberapa kali kami bekerja sama juga dengan instansi pemerintah untuk mensosialisasikan hak-hak perempuan seperti itu. Selain itu juga kami bersama-sama dengan kawan-kawan jaringan lain untuk turut serta melakukan advokasi terhadap kebijakan-kebijakan atau perda-perda yang berkaitan dengan penegakan hak-hak perempuan yang ada di Bali pada khususnya. Itu saja. Oke, terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Sita. So this is really interesting to hear about the various kinds of approaches of really raising awareness and addressing some of these challenges, be it legal aid or advocacy and campaigning, also the courts and, as you just explained, and using the law really to advance women's rights. I'm wondering, Marlene, what is the kind of work that your center does? How do you use the law to kind of address some of these challenges and to advocate against some of the issues that our two speakers have just addressed? Thank you.
Thank you. So the center actually defines itself in two different roles. One is as a legal and advocacy strategist, and one is as a force multiplier, and to address all of the reproductive work that we do. And it varies again in terms of region, which we use the most. So for an area, obviously in the United States, litigation is the way you handle things because of the culture there. But also, if our work in Latin America is very much through international litigation because there's an Inter-American Human Rights Court and Commission that's set up for these grievances to come forward, and same in Europe. We find in Africa it's not as developed, so we do a lot of national state litigation. So in Kenya, we do a lot of work before the High Court. And in Asia, where there isn't really, again, a sort of litigation culture, a lot of our work is through advocacy. And I wanted to then follow up, and I don't know how many people were at the Human Rights Workshop yesterday where the UN panel was presenting, but a vast amount of our work is done, actually, our advocacy work is done before UN treaty monitoring bodies. That both some of the committees that were talking yesterday, the members from the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women and on ESCAR, I can't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but what we do is, in the UN, countries who sign treaties come up for review periodically, whether or not are they in compliance with those treaties and with everything they said they're going to do. And when they come up for review, the center, as other NGOs, then submits what we would first say is a shadow letter or a letter submission to say, okay, now you got the country submission. This is what we see on the ground. This is what's happening, in our case, to women. And many, many times, though, the committee then will come out with its finding, its recommendation, its report, and they will utilize the facts that we have put forward in the shadow letter to make a recommendation to the government about what they need to do. We have found this in a very useful form. We have, even in the Philippines, there was a confidential inquiry for about 7 years, which is not confidential anymore, that we were involved in by CR. And what came out was actually a report to the Philippine government that their limitation to contraception, their not following through with after-abortion care that causes death and serious medical lasting issues for women who go and seek illegal abortion because abortion is so restricted, was violating women's human rights. And it said that Philippines really has to look at changing their law. And we also, we'll talk about this a little bit later, a lot of this work is done in pro bono partnership also. The other way we do it, we develop materials. We go do fact-finding reports. We go out on the ground and talk and take testimony. An example was in Africa about 2 years ago in Tanzania. Adolescent girls in high school are forced to be tested for pregnancy. If they are found to be pregnant, they're then expelled from school and do not get an education, and therefore will not have an economically independent life. And this was work we did in terms of going to Tanzania, getting the facts on the ground, interviewing people. I want to say the other thing that we have begun to do in our role as force multiplier and hope to build on is we understand that our fabulous attorneys and people in our regional offices, they're small offices. They're offices of 5 people maybe even 4. And we are limited in our capacity. So what's really important though is to develop capacity in that country, to develop capacity among a legal community that then is aware of sexual and reproductive rights and their human rights enforcement. So in South Asia, we have for a number of years worked with attorneys in Pakistan and in Nepal to create a group that we call SARJAI, which is the South Asian Reproductive Justice group of local attorneys. And some of these attorneys have already started to bring proceedings in South Asia. One of them brought a proceeding concerning the rampant fistula of a condition post-pregnancy, post-delivery, which actually women got very little medical treatment for and because of the conditions, and then stigmatized them in the community. We hope to continue building upon this, both in South Asia, doing some judicial trainings, doing convenings. We feel this is a way to build up, again, legal capacity, to get education out there, and to empower women in those countries to really know what their rights are and to advocate to have changes made.
Thank you, Marlene. I'd actually like to ask a follow-up question, if I may, and you touched upon it very briefly. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how you've involved pro bono lawyers in this kind of or other work that the center is doing.
So let me give a few examples, particularly in Asia. As I said, that we do a lot of work before the UN treaty monitoring bodies. So very often we will have, we find out that, let's say, for example, in the Philippines, I think the past year there were about 4 or 5 letters coming up that had to be submitted, and we knew that we needed some additional capacity. So we reached out to a few, I'd say, global international law firms and asked if they would work with us. And the center is a little unique in terms of a global NGO because we do have a pro bono structure. I mean, I'm the pro bono director, so we have our own individual relationships with law firms that we develop. And what we do then is also we have an experienced reproductive and sexual human rights attorney on our staff who will supervise the matter. So we'll reach out to a firm and about the fact that this is coming up before the UN, and we would like you to work with us to draft the letter, and we go forward, set up a timetable and review, and we engage them that way. Another way we've engaged law firms rather successfully is in some pre-litigation matters to get litigation support. So, for example, we were litigating a case, I think we're still litigating the case, actually, it's not decided, in Kenya, concerning maternal care. A Kenyan woman came into a hospital in Nairobi to deliver a child. There was no bed for her. She was forced to deliver the child on the floor, and then post-delivery was physically and emotionally abused by the hospital staff for making the floor dirty and being unclean. And so we actually have a proceeding before the High Court of Kenya. So we also reached out to a firm at that time to assist us with the research and the strategy to kind of develop what would the claims be, you know, what would the causes of actions be, what were the most useful ones, and to help us with drafting the petition that went forward. On one last example, I'll put forward because I know other people have to speak. We have recently, we've been invited by the Justice, I think it's the Judicial Training Institute in Uganda, to do a judicial roundtable to educate on sexual and reproductive health and human rights norms, so that the judiciary is aware that there is a body of law out there, which many times they're not. So we've reached out to a firm actually to help us develop that curriculum by doing research to map, is there actually curriculum out there already that we're not aware of, and then to develop a template for what it will be for the Uganda Roundtable. So those are just 3 examples, and then I'm happy to answer other questions.
Thank you so much for this, Marlene. It is indeed very interesting, and in that sense, the Center is almost unique to have its own pro bono division or department, and to have your own relationships with law firms and to go about it like that. Another way in which pro bono collaborations happen in a very kind of innovative and creative way is, Becca, what you've been doing in your work with Reed Smith. I would love for you to share with us perhaps a little bit more about how you and your firm actually went about this pro bono project, because I know that you actually proactively sought out NGOs to work with you on the project that you touched upon briefly earlier, which is also very creative, and I haven't heard many law firms who've done it that way. Could you talk to us a little bit more about that, and perhaps elaborate on how come this is is this just a methodology that Reed Smith generally adopts, or is it just something that you felt strongly about? Just maybe share a little bit more with us, please.
So a lot of pro bono opportunities do come to us directly. Organisations approach us, but what we've discovered recently is that, as Nick Patrick was talking about earlier, in order to engage your lawyers and get them to continue doing pro bono, you need to do the work that they're passionate about and that they want to get involved in. So the FGM project actually originated with one of our associates in the London office. She was really passionate about the issue, and she wanted to see what we could do as a firm to raise awareness about FGM and try and help victims access justice. So that's when we set up the team of lawyers that did the research that enabled us to then go, with very basic knowledge, we're not pretending we're experts at all, to go and approach other local organisations to see who we could partner with. And we partnered with Freedom on this book, but we're also speaking to a number of other organisations about future collaborations. And it's trying to work out where we, as commercial lawyers, can add value to organisations that do have expertise in the area. We also have another example this year of our Greece refugee project. We have quite a few lawyers around the world who have experience doing asylum cases, and we wanted to help in the European and Middle East refugee crises. So in Greece, we looked for NGOs that we could partner with, and we partnered with Metadrasi, a Greek NGO based on Lesbos, Chios and Samos islands, and we've been sending out teams of lawyers since May, and still going, to work with them on the ground in the camps every day, representing refugees, accompanying them to their interviews, helping with appeals, and also helping unaccompanied children try and reunite them with their families. So a lot of pro bono does come to us, but especially this year and recent years, we've been trying to proactively seek the projects that our lawyers are really interested in.
And if I may ask a follow-up question, how have the recipients of your pro bono services reacted when you first approached them? Is this something that your partners have been very receptive to and open to, or are there any challenges that you faced in reaching out to them? Were they perhaps skeptical, this request coming from lawyers themselves rather than perhaps an NGO or, clearinghouses like the ones Pilnet operates?
So yes, that is a challenge, especially as often we're not experts in the area. So with the FGM work, we really weren't experts, but we did have a lot of lawyers that were keen to help and resources that we could add to the charity. So we actually found that people were quite receptive. The challenge is to work out where we can add value. As commercial lawyers, we're not instantly going to go and help individuals with protection orders, the remit of family lawyers, but we can help with educational materials and that type of thing. With the refugee work, it helped that we did have quite a few lawyers who did have a lot of experience, so we sent out experienced lawyers with inexperienced lawyers so that we could train other people. So yeah, it is a balance.
Thank you so much for that. And Sita, I wonder, have you also had some experience with pro bono lawyers? Have you worked with pro bono lawyers at LBH? And what are the perhaps pro bono needs that you might have that remain unmet?
Oke. Kalau untuk di LBH Bali sendiri, kami kadangkala untuk beberapa kasus kami bekerja sama dengan beberapa pengacara pro bono. Tapi sampai saat ini masih hanya sebatas alumni dari LBH Bali. Dan tidak banyak, kita akui tidak banyak pengacara-pengacara yang mau melakukan pendampingan terhadap kasus-kasus perempuan yang terjadi selama ini. Biasanya untuk kasus-kasus perempuan ataupun anak, itu pasti akan selalu diserahkan ke lembaga-lembaga penyedia layanan atau LSM atau NGO. Sedikit mungkin dari firma hukum yang mau melakukan pendampingan terhadap kasus-kasus perempuan. Walaupun ada, tapi jumlahnya itu terbatas seperti itu. Nah, selama ini kami juga untuk permasalahan untuk kan kurang karena kurangnya tenaga untuk yang mau melakukan kegiatan pro bono seperti tadi yang kita lakukan, salah satunya adalah melakukan pelatihan atau penguatan kepada masyarakat, tokoh-tokoh masyarakat untuk menjadi paralegal yang nantinya bisa membantu untuk melakukan pendampingan terhadap kasus-kasus, terutama di daerah yang jauh dari LBH Bali. Nah, hal-hal yang mungkin dibutuhkan untuk menunjang kegiatan pro bono ini adalah pengacara yang mempunyai kemampuan yang handal di bidangnya, yang mau menginvestasikan waktunya secara penuh untuk melakukan kegiatan pro bono. Karena kita ketahui bahwa kasus perempuan itu sangat banyak di LBH Bali sendiri. Tahun 2015 pengaduan kasus perempuan itu ada sekitar 50 kasus, tapi tidak semua bisa kami dampingin, dan kami rasa itu juga masih belum semua, karena banyak sekali perempuan-perempuan yang tidak mau melaporkan kasusnya atau bahkan tidak tahu harus melapor atau tidak, seperti itu. Sehingga kami pikir kami masih butuh banyak tenaga dari pengacara-pengacara yang handal yang mau melakukan kinerja-kinerja pro bono. Yang selama ini biasanya khususnya untuk kasus-kasus perempuan ataupun anak itu selalu pasti diserahkan ke lembaga-lembaga seperti lembaga-lembaga pemerintah, CSO, dan lembaga-lembaga lain. Seperti itu saja sih. Nah, selanjutnya mungkin sedikit lagi ya, Maisa. Kita pikir bahwa untuk melakukan pendampingan terhadap kasus perempuan itu tidak bisa hanya dilakukan oleh lembaga-lembaga pemerintah ataupun CSO, itu harus dilakukan oleh semua komponen masyarakat, karena isu perempuan adalah isu yang besar dan harus dihadapi dengan serius agar kasus ini benar-benar bisa ditangani dengan baik, bukan hanya dianggap sebagai ini punya CSO, ini punya lembaga pemerintah, seperti itu. Maisa.
Thank you so much, Sita. I think what the three of you have really shown in a very interesting manner is that pro bono can take many shapes and forms, be it legal research or legal analysis and drafting, legal advice and advocacy, legal training. Perhaps I would like to wrap this up before we spend some time on questions and answers, because I'm sure many of you have some questions for our wonderful panelists here. My last question to the three of you would be, in general, in the region or also elsewhere, where do you see the opportunities for promoting women's rights through pro bono? And what do you think, in your experience, how can civil society and law firms best collaborate in order to enhance access to justice, specifically as today's panel was about access to justice for victims of gender-based violence or female genital mutilation, but it really could be about anything, and perhaps you also, Marlene, about reproductive health, etc. Where do you see the opportunities? Becca, would you like to start?
So I won't talk about specific opportunities. I think law firms can help in a huge variety of areas, and the main challenge is the lack of expertise they may have. So big law firms tend to have commercial lawyers. We want to help in all sorts of different areas, but our lawyers need to be trained and they need to be supervised. So we recently set up a domestic violence clinic in London with 5 other firms, and we gave our lawyers 20 hours of training, which was very intensive, but it's still not enough by any means to make them fully competent in that area of law. So we also have an on-duty solicitor at the clinic every week to give them further advice and supervise the work that they're doing. So law firms are really keen to help. They've got lots of lawyers who want to help as well, so they've got the resources, but what they don't have is necessarily the full expertise. So if NGOs and other organisations can provide the training and the supervision, we can then get a lot more lawyers involved and working on projects.
Thank you, Becca. Is this along the lines of what your thinking is in terms of opportunities, Marlene?
Well, I think there are 2 aspects. I should say that I think for international global law firms, there are boundless opportunities. And it doesn't matter that, they're sitting here in Indonesia, or they're sitting in Thailand, and maybe they have more attorneys in London. A lot of the opportunities, quite frankly, are, research or comparative law research or help with publications. And we have found that it's, firms have the capacity to do this work across regions within the law firm. So we've had projects where a law firm has staffed it from their London office, their Australia office, their Singapore office, and it's fabulous for law firms because it team builds. Because here we have a firm with, it's one law firm, but it has, 10 different offices in different cities, and they don't think like one law firm all the time. And pro bono is a way to bring them together and to actually achieve that the lawyers in all these regions acquire a law firm identity, that they're part of a team. So we have found that it's actually boundless, and the opportunities are boundless. It really goes to the law firm in terms of what is a law firm's commitment, how much involvement. Is the law firm open to sending an associate to the Philippines for 2 weeks to take testimony, then to help back up their research? Some are, some aren't, so you have to look around and see which makes the best match. I would say, and I just want to put this out there, I know for us, we think more and more there are opportunities for local and regional counsel outside of the international law firm framework. Many times, some of our work in the region, it really is something that we need local counsel to pursue. And that is, I think, one of the biggest challenges, because we understand local counsel don't have the resources of a large law firm. It's not, it's not written into a local, to a small law firm's, policies that yes, you have to do pro bono. So I think it's a way for us to really try to think creatively, is how do we build more local capacity?
Thank you so much, Marlene. And Sita, perhaps from the perspective of a local public interest organization, a non-for-profit, where do you see the opportunities for pro bono collaborations?
Oke. Di organisasi kami untuk untuk mempromosikan kegiatan pro bono khususnya terhadap perempuan memang selama ini masih minim, tapi itu kemudian bisa saja kita lakukan. Kita duduk bersama dengan organisasi-organisasi pengacara ataupun dengan firma hukum untuk membahas bahwa isu perempuan ini adalah isu bersama, isu yang sangat besar, isu penting, dan itu harus dihadapi oleh masyarakat secara luas. Dan itu juga kita harus mengubah perspektif masyarakat. Selama ini yang terjadi di masyarakat sipil kita adalah pengacara itu biasanya bayarnya mahal. Pengacara itu mahal. Kadang-kadang mungkin ada beberapa oknum yang berlaku kurang baik gitu kepada klien, kepada khususnya perempuan. Itu harus dirubah. Jadi perspektif masyarakat terhadap pandangan terhadap pengacara itu harus dirubah agar bagaimana nantinya masyarakat sipil bisa bekerja sama dengan firma hukum seperti itu. Dan itu yang terjadi selama ini, masyarakat sipil bisa bekerja sama dengan firma hukum itu ketika menghadapi kasus-kasus yang besar atau isu-isu yang besar seperti itu. Nah, penting bagi kita untuk meningkatkan kesadaran agar pro kepada rakyat miskin. Jangan sampai pengacara-pengacara kita hanya terfokus pada klien-klien yang bisa membayar dengan besar. Seperti tadi saya sampaikan sebelumnya bahwa untuk kasus-kasus yang mungkin tidak akan mampu memberikan bayaran itu hanya akan dilempar kepada NGO atau lembaga penyedia layanan. Itu yang kemudian harus kita rubah, bahwa setiap pengacara punya tanggung jawab untuk melakukan pendampingan terhadap perempuan. Karena di Indonesia undang-undang advokat kita juga mensyaratkan seperti itu, bahwa kita tidak boleh menolak seorang klien karena dia tidak mampu membayar. Jadi sekali lagi penting untuk menjadi pemahaman bagi semua advokat untuk ikut serta mengawal menegakkan hak-hak perempuan, mendampingi perempuan, dan mewujudkan atau memberikan bantuan hukum kepada perempuan-perempuan yang mengalami kekerasan.
Thank you so much, Sita, and to the three of you, actually. We still have some time for questions and answers, as I promised. We even made up for some of the delays, so I think we can take quite a few. How about we take perhaps 2 or 3 questions to start with, and then we'll give the panelists the opportunity to answer and see if there's more time for questions.
I'm wondering if any of you in your pro bono work have also involved the law schools in the places where you've been doing the pro bono work.
Thank you for the time. My name is Orin. I'm a university student from Udayana. I have questions. For the human rights violation towards women, that's happening a lot in Indonesia. And as we know, a lot of indigenous women doesn't even have a courage or brave enough to go to some organization to report their violation towards them, and how these indigenous women, like in Papua, they collaborate or do cooperation with the organization which can help them to have the basic knowledge of to make the differences between the violation or even the cultural life. Thank you.
那个在中国呢，就是妇女权益，我也听说以及看到一些报道说那个受到这个侵害吧。那但是在我身边其实看到的很少，特别是在我家里。其实我在家里这个地位蛮低的，特别是在我闺女出生以后，我的地位更加低了。他们常常以这个假民主的形式呢，就是说进行一个投票，那我就是1，他们就是2啊。那有时候被逼急了，我用什么样的一个方式呢？就是提高我的音量啊，就生气啊。那这就是其实这种情况下就是我觉得就是需要用我的方法来对抗，就是妇女或者就是妇女吧，她对我的一个不尊重有时候了所以我会用生气的方式。那我想问一下，就是这个在印尼呢，这个 造成妇女是弱势群体的一个根本原因是什么？最根本的原因是什么？这是我的问题，谢谢。
Thank you. Nama saya Nengas Sukardike, saya dari Himpunan Advokat Muda Indonesia. Jadi apa yang disampaikan tadi dari pembicara Sita itu sangat benar. Apa yang disampaikan tadi di Indonesia memang para pemberi jasa hukum secara gratis ini boleh dikatakan sangat minim. Namun ada beberapa hal pertanyaan saya kepada narasumber yang lain. Negara Indonesia ini untuk khusus advokat sudah ada undang-undang tentang advokat yang di dalamnya wajib memberikan bantuan hukum kepada masyarakat miskin. Dan ini telah diatur di dalam undang-undang. Pertanyaan saya kepada narasumber yang lain, bicara yang lain, apakah di negara Anda itu ada aturan yang memang aturan nih? Apakah ada undang-undang yang mengatur tentang advokat itu wajib memberikan bantuan hukum, dan apabila tidak memberikan bantuan hukum, apakah ada sanksi yang diterapkan kepada advokat tersebut? Karena di Indonesia, jadi kalaupun sudah ada undang-undangnya, jadi jarang sekali advokat mampu memberikan, lebih pada kalau misalnya ini sifatnya pro bono, jadi banyak diberikan kepada LSM. Nah, yang mengambil advokat sendiri seharusnya sudah diwajibkan memberikan bantuan hukum secara cuma-cuma kepada masyarakat miskin. Itu, apakah sekali lagi saya tegaskan, apakah di negara lain apakah ada aturan yang menegaskan bahwa seorang advokat wajib memberikan bantuan hukum, dan apabila tidak memberikan bantuan hukum, apakah ada sanksinya? Itu, terima kasih.
Oh no, so the American Bar Association, I believe it's 50 hours a year, but I could be overstating it. And then certain individual states will have their own aspirational goals. I will say in the United States, the most influential part of increasing pro bono, though, and it was focused on major law firms, was the Pro Bono Institute's Pro Bono Challenge, which actually approached major law firms like DLA that you heard from today and from Reed Smith, that they also had this challenge to contribute, these 50 hours a year, or to make a monetary contribution, and I think to make a monetary contribution, I can't remember quite. And that saw a huge increase in the large law firm world, because we all know large law firms are very competitive, and they would sign on a challenge, and their colleagues who were similar to them then would sign on the challenge, so you all want to do it. But there's no government mandated pro bono. As to utilization of law students, in the global practice, I think most of our utilization has been through having interns and maybe fellows who come and work in our offices, and we love them, and they are really such an added capacity, particularly on research and doing documents and publications. But that is sort of how we've mainly have worked in local law students. I will say the one area where we're starting to see a growth in local counsel is in the Latin American area, where we recently, we've worked with a Colombian law firm in terms of them helping us as an NGO on our corporate legal needs. And we recently reached out and said, are you interested in doing some of our substantive law work, working on our issues? And they said, yes, why didn't you ask earlier? Which kind of taught us a lesson about, yes, we should have asked. So they just finished some work, they've been working on a comparative law study that supported our work on behalf of the issue of uninformed consent on sterilization in a number of countries in Latin America. So one of the things I'm learning about local, if you have that local bar, is maybe we should be more, assertive is the wrong word, but be more creative and ask and go out there and maybe work with local bar associations. This is something we have not done enough of, and I see it as our challenge in the next year or two to focus a bit in that arena.
Thank you so much, Marlene. Sita, would you like to comment?
Mungkin ada beberapa pertanyaan yang bisa saya tanggapi. Jadi terkait dengan hal-hal banyaknya kekerasan terhadap perempuan yang terjadi di Indonesia, kemudian ketakutan-ketakutan perempuan untuk melapor atau ketidaktahuan perempuan untuk melapor itu memang masih marak terjadi. Bahkan saya pernah mendengar suatu kasus yang seorang perempuan dihajar sama suaminya tuh di depan umum dan banyak yang tahu, tapi dia masyarakat cuman bilang itu kan masalah rumah tangganya, itu kan suaminya seorang tentara, jadi nanti kalau kamu ngelapor malah kita yang salah. Jadi itu perlu dilakukan penguatan kepada seluruh perempuan atau penyadaran, sehingga perempuan kemudian ketika dia mengalami kekerasan, mereka punya keberanian untuk melapor, tahu di mana untuk melapor. Itu mungkin memang diperlukan tenaga ekstra untuk melakukan sosialisasi atau pengetahuan kepada seluruh masyarakat, terutama yang ada di daerah-daerah pinggiran yang selama ini mungkin belum bisa terjangkau. Pemerintah sendiri mungkin sudah melakukan kegiatan sosialisasi, hanya saja itu mungkin masih kurang, masih harus terus dilakukan. Nah, terkait dengan pendidikan isu-isu perempuan pada Fakultas Hukum itu di lembaga kami setiap tahun biasanya kami mengadakan semacam kaderisasi. Kaderisasi itu pendidikan bagi mahasiswa Fakultas Hukum, terutama sudah semester akhir. Itu kami memberikan mereka pelajaran pelatihan terkait dengan isu-isu yang kami tangani di LBH, terutama salah satunya adalah tentang perempuan, tentang keadilan terhadap perempuan, tentang bagaimana memberikan bantuan hukum kepada perempuan, dan juga terkait dengan hak-hak perempuan. Itu saja.
Thank you so much, Sita. Becca.
We do work with law students on quite a lot of our projects, mostly in London, but also in Munich we do quite a lot with students, particularly with advice centres. So often the student will attend an advice centre with a lawyer, and the student will conduct the interview and draft the letter of advice, which the lawyer will then supervise and check. And we do that in quite a lot of our different clinics, and it works really, really well. It saves the lawyer quite a lot of the initial time, the student does a lot of the research, but it's obviously still very important that the lawyer then reviews it and shows the student the changes that they're making. And in terms of people not reporting violence that's happened to them, that is a big problem, even in the UK, where the police are a pretty friendly organisation to go to, and so a big part of what we were trying to do with this book was to raise awareness about what is wrong and where people can go to seek help, but also to raise awareness about the warning signs of FGM being committed, so that others, maybe not even the victim, can try and prevent it as well. And then in terms of is our pro bono regulated? In the UK, we don't have mandatory pro bono, but we do, similar to the US, have aspirational targets that we sign up to. Most of our European offices don't have mandatory pro bono either, so I'm not aware of any of our offices that do have that.
Thank you. So we really have only a couple of minutes left. So I want to see if there's anyone who has a very pressing question that they didn't get to ask.
Actually, the level of participation of male lawyers in this women's rights issue, because we all know, or we all should know, that women's rights is an issue concerning both men and women. But given all kinds of misunderstanding that women's rights is about women over men, so you know, like in my work, I might face this kind of challenges. I'm wondering whether you are facing the same challenges and how do you deal with it.
Thank you. I am Ade Wahyudin. I'm working for Legal Aid Center for the Press. I want to ask, on your experience, is there any challenge for woman lawyer when you are advocating the woman case? Is like intimidation or discrimination, something like that? If there, what you do? Thank you.
In most of the stuff we've done, we haven't found that we faced much intimidation. We try to always make sure that our clinics and other work we're doing are in safe environments. We have a domestic violence clinic, and we send 3 pairs of lawyers along to the clinic so that people are never on their own. Obviously, most of the people that we're helping are victims of domestic violence, but sometimes you do have perpetrators also coming in for legal advice as well. In terms of the participation of men in the work that we're doing, that is really, really important, particularly with FGM. The whole education around it is equally as important to make men aware of all the issues as it is women. So this book is being distributed in schools across the UK, and the writer, she goes and speaks to the schools and has whole rooms full of students, and it's all the boys have to attend as well, because it's really, really important that they're part of the whole discussion and the debate. And we do find that more of our female lawyers are passionate about these issues and get involved, but I'm always surprised by the number of men that want to help as well, so that's good.
Saya sedikit mungkin untuk tantangan ya, tantangan terhadap ketika kami melakukan pendampingan terutama kasus KDRT misalnya, itu biasanya kami mendampingi korban, kemudian dari pihak pelaku yang biasanya suami yang melakukan tindakan kekerasan atau keluarganya itu mereka biasanya marah, datang ke kantor kami pun dengan marah-marah, bahkan mengancam. Ada satu kasus yang kami tanganin itu istrinya, seorang istri yang kena KDRT oleh suaminya, terus kemudian suaminya ditahan, datanglah keluarga dari suami menyatakan bahwa saya tidak akan main-main, saya juga bisa melakukan apapun untuk kamu karena kamu telah membuat kakak saya di penjara, karena kakak saya di penjara, ayah saya sakit. Saya akan melakukan apapun jika terjadi sesuatu. Itu kan salah satu bentuk ancaman terhadap kami, bahkan juga terhadap korban yang kami dampingi. Kemudian biasanya dulu ada rekan kami juga yang bahkan datang ke rumah korban, dihadang menggunakan pedang seperti itu oleh pihak korban. Jadi memang sangat banyak terjadi ancaman sampai sejauh ini, walaupun tidak selalu seperti itu.
And Marlene, the last minute goes to you.
So I just want to say that in terms of the center, yes, most of our attorneys are women, and but I don't know if it's because of the work we do, or because in the public interest world is usually hiring more women because pay is lower. So that's, and not just that, and also I say women just know about public interest and it's wonderful to do. So that is true. Discrimination, I don't know if the question was about discrimination as an attorney, as being a female attorney in the profession. Since I am the oldest person here, I will tell you times have changed in the United States. When I first started, yes. When I first started, there weren't as many female attorneys in the courtroom, and you'd get kind of, let's say, judges would make sarcastic comments, and it was much more. However, in the pay scale, it still exists very much so, and you will see it. Look at major law firms, very small percentage of partners. And I'll talk in 30 seconds really quickly, because I want to leave you with the fact that reproductive rights are so essential to every basic woman's right. If you look at it through the public health lens, the woman going to be healthy. Is she going to be able to make a decision about when she does want children, she'll get the right care? Do women get married off at an early age? Are women denied an education? You look at it through an economic lens, a human rights lens, a gender-based violence lens. It affects each and every part of a woman's development, and that law firms are out there to help you, no matter what your work is, and you really should be creative and push them to work with you.
Thank you so much, Marlene and Sita and Becca. I mean, this has been a really rich panel, and I think that the one thing that we can all hopefully walk away with, that there is no one prescribed recipe for a pro bono collaborations. These can take many forms and shapes, and regardless of context, we can find innovative ways of working together. So please join me in thanking our fabulous panelists today.